What's up, YouTube? We're back with another Warbond review video. We are checking out the Dust Devils Warbond. As you can see, we are wearing the Superstar light armor here. Absolutely love this Warbond. It's insane and honestly has a ton of power creep in it. So we're going to get into it and just do a general overview of what's in it. And then I'm also going to rate each item in it for each faction. So if you're interested of like, how does this AR versus that enemy or this enemy or that faction, this faction, I'm going to go into that. So let's get into it. On the first page, we have the armor. I love the aesthetic personally of this Warbond. I'm a huge Dune fan, so this is great. I think it's incredibly clean and it fits in the universe very well. As far as the armor passive, pretty good. I'd say like solid B across the board for every faction. Definitely a little bit higher B plus on bugs, just because they can take full advantage of the acid resistance of things that like the Hunter can do, Spewers, Bile Titans, Hive Lord can do. Just a heads up, the Dragon is fire, not acid. It looks like acid, but it's fire. And you also get 20% throwing range, which is just nice across the board. Can't really complain about it. It will mess with your muscle memory if you're starting to get that visual memory of like, okay, my stratagems fly this far exactly. 20% range will mess with your stratagems and your other throwables like grenades. So just get careful with that one. Love the aesthetic. I think it's great. Coyote, 75 damage, 45 capacity, 13 recoil, 600 fire rate. Pretty, a little bit lower than your standard Liberator, but overall, the Coyote is the definition of power creep to some extent. It is amazing. This thing fries on every single faction. It has a very healthy amount of backup mags. You have 8, 9 including the one you start off with the gun with. As far as attachments, you can have muzzles, underbarrel, and sight. Pretty respectable. It doesn't have my favorite sight, which is the 1.5x, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'd probably recommend the vertical foregrip with the flashlight, especially if you're doing caves. And then as far as attachments on the front, personally, for my grouping taste, I like the flash hider. It also helps because it doesn't do as much sway for the weapon, so it's a little bit of a hidden mechanic there because it doesn't update here, but it does actually affect sway. So those are my recommendations. I really like the weapon so far. We've done quite a few missions with it. Going into how it performs versus bugs first, obviously it's medium pen, so it's going to make your life a little bit easier versus the new ruptures. It's only a couple shots to a warrior's head. I do notice that the durable damage is a bit lower, so you're maybe looking at 8 to 10 shots to kill a brood commander's face. But remember, the fire damage absolutely melts brood commanders, so you can't just let them cook after like doing like 8 shots or something like that before you break their head. You can just let them like burn out, maybe 3-shotting a Hive Guardian, and then it just burns to death. As long as you light a Hunter on fire, he will just burn to death. Very strong versus a lot of enemies on it. Even like a Bile Titan lighting it on fire, it takes a lot of damage now. Remember, because fire damage scales with how big the enemy is. The bigger the enemy, and if it's on fire, the more damage it takes. So it's actually like extremely good. And the fact that they gave a medium pen is bonkers to me. As far as recoil, not too bad. If you find it's a little bit obnoxious, remember, crouch. Way more manageable when you put a vertical foregrip and you crouch with it though. So on bugs overall, easily A+. Maybe not quite S tier. I need to like use it a little bit more. I don't know if it quite fits into that spot where like it's competing with like the crossbow or Rupture, just because those guns have so much potential as far as killing ability with the AoE, knocking Ruptures out of the ground, and just like usability as far as like killing your bug holes and stuff like that. But it's like really close. If I'm gonna put something in S tier, it's probably gonna be right up there. You're maybe gonna use like the normal cookout versus like Predator Strain, just because it doesn't have any stagger versus like the larger enemies. So like if you're doing Predator Strain, cookout will probably end up being the overall better choice. But like for Rupture Strain and stuff like that, it feels really good. So I could see it being a lot of people's S tiers. I'm gonna put it A+ for now, but we'll report back over time. This is initial first impressions. For Illuminate, you're one-shotting all vote lists because one shot is enough to light them on fire. Amazing. As long as you can break some of the armor on Overseers, you can light them on fire very fast. And once they're on fire, they're probably gonna die. But remember, for Overseers, pick one spot and shoot that one spot, and then they'll be lit on fire and you're good. Watchers, they get destroyed pretty fast. I found that Harvesters were pretty tanky to it, but that's mostly down to the fact that durable damage is pretty low on this, so I don't necessarily recommend that. I was really impressed with Flesh Mobs because it's incendiary, so Flesh Mobs were super good for that. Highly recommend against them. Just lighting them on fire, leaving them alone, and then going on to the next one. Really strong in that regard. So overall, easily like A+ to S tier once again for Illuminate missions. Highly recommend. This thing is insane. Next, going into bot missions, just medium pen is fantastic, but if you're willing to, you know, use a little bit of accuracy, you can actually get the TTK even further down on like Devastators and stuff like that. But remember, shooting legs, you're only looking at like a handful of shots, and then lighting a Devastator on fire twice typically is more than enough to kill a Devastator, which is amazing. I wouldn't really shoot like the underbelly of like rocket striders and stuff like that. You can shoot the rockets on the side a lot faster. Highly recommend that. I really was impressed with this weapon on even bots. It's not going to be as strong as like an eruptor or a crossbow or have like the range of like diligence or something like that. I found the Coyote to be very effective on bots. I'd say solid A, maybe not A plus, just because precision and range is a factor I find a lot on bots. It's not to say like it's a bad weapon at all. It actually does a really good job. And also it doesn't have the stagger. So when you're shooting at something, it's shooting back at you. It doesn't have that stagger that maybe you get from like the Deadeye or the Dominator or something like that, because it is extremely valuable when an enemy doesn't shoot back when you're shooting at them. Overall, the Coyote, insane power creep as far as like just incendiary AR. All ARs are going to be extremely jealous of this weapon. Going into our next page, we have the spear gun. This thing's great. At first, when I was testing this, like this was some time ago, I was a bit lost on like what exactly was the purpose of it. It just seemed like an off-brand railgun, but upon like using it more through like just basic gameplay and just playing more today, it's like this awesome pairing of like an anti-tank weapon and an ad clear weapon at the exact same time. It feels awesome. It's doing things that you wouldn't really expect of an anti-tank weapon while also having like a great ammo economy, being very user-friendly because it has a fast reload. You get backpack availability as well. It's great. Starting off with bugs, you can two-shot a charger in the butt. I think it has something to do with the overpen that it has, because you can see in the trailer above me, it has some overpen. It's like maybe multi-hitting the butt. Two shots very reliably. If it's like you get right behind the charger's butt, two shots either blows up the butt or it'll bleed out soon after. But if you just one-shot it, the charger is not going to like try and mess with you because he's affected by the gas, which is amazing. Even if you miss your shot, it's really good. You can strip the armor on the legs. I wouldn't really recommend it because I'm pretty sure it's like 3 shots for a behemoth charger, 2 shots for a regular charger. Not really worth it in that regard. You're better off just shooting the butt, but it's still there. Something that I was doing sometimes was like I had extra shots. There's a bug breach in front of me. I literally just shot into the middle of the bug breach and just caused the gas explosion. It's literally like having 13 gas grenades on you at all times. That's the kind of power it feels like as far as a general ad clear. Like it is kind of trivializing it at times. And because there's an explosion, it brings rupture enemies out of the ground as well. And gas, if you didn't know, does affect enemies below ground. Gas guard dog and sterilizer don't affect them, but anything that's like explosive or like AoE based gas does. It's really good. I think it's like 5 shots to kill bots in the head or something along those lines. After 4, I was like, oh, this is pretty slow. For dragons, I think it's like only a couple shots for the head. It's kind of hard to know if you're hitting the head though on a dragon. It is nice because at least it will stagger them a decent amount, but it's not like this dragon killer out of nowhere, but it's like something to help your team with. And maybe if you get really good at shooting like heads of dragons, you know, maybe you can kill it in like 3 or so shots. I could see that as far as like the damage output goes, but it's not like something that you're going to be reliably doing. It does have pen 5. I didn't mention that. Pen 5 with 650 damage. Hive Lords you can do chip damage against, and if you do break an armor plate, it will do some amount of damage to it. I'm not saying like I'd really recommend it, and I don't think the gas was doing any damage because I didn't see any hit markers, but it can do something there. But yeah, I really like this thing versus chargers and just regular ad clear. You can one-shot stalkers with it. It's 2 shots if you hit him in the body. I didn't mention this yet, and I should have already. It closes bug holes. That's something I didn't expect at all. The explosion and the gas component of it blows up bug holes. At this point, I'm just like, why doesn't the Epoch do that as well? I think this gun may be S tier, but not quite just yet. Maybe there's some tech we need to learn with it, but it's like A plus. I'm hesitant to give it S tier just yet, but like, woo, it feels good, man, on bugs. I almost want to put it S tier. It's so close. It's so close to S tier for me. Maybe like tune back in like a week or so and after the honeymoon phase to see like what my actual final thoughts are on it. But like, man, it's good so far. Going into Illuminate, it was fun. It was fun to use. It staggers flesh mobs no matter what. So if a flesh mob is running at you, staggers it. If it's just standing there, staggers it. Gas affects it. It's not like doing crazy amounts of damage to a flesh mob, but it has crazy CC potential to stop flesh mobs from bothering you. So what you could do is like shoot a flesh mob, stagger it, and then swap to your Coyote. And while it's under the effect of gas, you're also shooting it with your Coyote and you're getting like double damage ticks. It's actually like super useful, and it can 2-shot a harvester's leg as long as like you've obviously taken off the shield and you shoot the same leg twice. Overseers, it was not good against. Don't really recommend them unless you're shooting them in the head, which is not super easy to do. Voteless, if you can get the gas to work in your favor, absolutely, it's quite useful. You can one-shot Watchers, I couldn't get any Leviathans to spawn. I think they might be bugged or just not spawning properly at all right now. I don't know what's happening with them. Oh, and 2 shots to an interceptor if you can hit them. I would say like solid A on Illuminates. I think the utility is there. Obviously, you can blow up the Illuminate ships with it. It's just not the biggest killing weapon. It's not quite getting to that S tier that the MG43 feels like it is sitting in, but it's like super strong. I do think it's like a great weapon to use on Illuminate. Unlike the railgun, which feels quite bad overall. So I usually give that around a B. Last for the automatons, it's one-shotting Devastators. It one-shots Hawks in the eye. We didn't get any War Striders, unfortunately, but I would assume it's around 3 to 4 shots to a War Strider's leg. Factory Striders, we didn't end up killing it, but I would assume it's like 8+ shots. I don't expect it to be very good at killing a Factory Strider in the eye, but it can do it. It has more than enough pen to do it, like a railgun, but it would take a while. But in general, I really liked using it versus bots. Just shooting like a group of Devastators in the middle like of the ground, and then they're affected by gas, or just one-shotting the occasional Devastator. Oh, there's a Hulk. One shot in the face. If you miss the eye shot, they can't shoot back at you because they're affected by gas. It felt awesome. Easy A+ tier, maybe S tier. I have to try that one a little bit more. The ammo economy can feel a little bit low if you're just trying to mob with it. It'll be feeling great for Hulks, but it doesn't quite have that killing ability on the higher tier enemies, and it's not quite good at mobbing for Devastators, but it has good CC, so I think it at least straddles that line of S tier. You know, maybe we find some tech for the overpen and stuff like that, and like it can like do some crazy damage to a Factory Strider maybe. Going into the Expendable napalm, at first wasn't a huge fan of it, but especially since it has a 120-second cooldown on it that's 60 seconds longer than the AT double. But I started to realize over time why. It kind of feels like a napalm barrage in your hand, or Eagle napalm airstrike in your hand. It has 20 projectiles when you fire it that then explode and spread out. 20. So I think the damage potential of doing some insane things is there if you can get all of the projectiles to explode in one spot. And I think that damage needs to be like honed in, and like we need to figure out how to use that. I've heard reports of like being able to 2-shot dragon roaches if like you get the right angle and it like blows up and like most of the projectiles hit the wings. That's crazy. Like an airburst rocket launcher, but different. In general, like shooting at a bug breach, it does a ton of damage. Obviously, it lights the ground on fire. Status effects are a little weird right now. Ground of fire doesn't always work on all enemies, but hopefully they can fix that soon. I did like it quite a bit. It was very fun to use, and it's very satisfying. One thing I did notice though is that it doesn't like plume out and down. It just goes like perpendicular and down. So if you just aim at the ground, sometimes all the damage will be focused very narrowly rather than being spread out. If you want it to be more spread out, aim higher at an, like maybe like at a Bile Titan, and then it will spread onto the ground below the Bile Titan, or at a charger and it'll spread around the charger. You do get 2, just like the AT, 120 seconds. It comes down on the health pod, as you can see. Feels good on bugs. I think, you know, solid A tier. I think it could be higher depending on how we learn how to use it. I could see this going higher once we learn like the ins and outs of it. Maybe it does crazy damage of like to like a Bile Titan stomach while it's like on the ground like slithering around, and you get like the perfect angle and all 20 explode and does massive damage. Maybe, who knows? But right now it's like solid A tier. Versus bots, it felt good for like Devastator swarms, but that's about it. Because it's medium pen, all of the explosions are medium pen. It's more of like a Devastator, like Berserker killer. You can shoot the underbellies of dropships and get a decent amount of kills from that as well. So I do kind of recommend either using it that way or waiting for them to hit the ground and then spreading it out. Both work really well. It felt good. A tier on bots as well. It's not going to be like killing your anti-tank, but as far as like the Devastator swarms are concerned, very useful. Obviously, you can kill fabricators and stuff if you shoot in the vents. So there is that. There is decent utility there as well. For Illuminate, because it's very much a chaff killing faction, it's going to be useful against the bloaters, the flesh mobs, voteless, the overseers that aren't touching the ground, and it'll actually be useful against the harvesters, because harvesters are actually particularly weak to fire because their toes are touching the ground and they are particularly weak to fire. So we were doing a lot of testing with the pyrotechnic grenade because that creates fire on the ground. They take a lot of damage from that fire on the ground. So I do recommend using this against pretty much the entire universe of Helldivers is pretty susceptible to napalm, as you probably imagined, with napalm barrage being so good on every faction as well. Would recommend, I'd say A tier again. Like I think it's a straight A tier across the board. It might not be your anti-tank. You might not always be able to use it, and it has a fairly long cooldown, but I think it's impactful enough to warrant the high cooldown. I can see this being awesome on defense missions in particular on every faction. The solo silo, this has been a bit of a contentious one. It's been kind of up and down. I think some people will immediately be like, oh, it can kill jammers. It can't. They accidentally pushed out a patch note that said that it had enough force to actually kill a jammer. It can't. Now, personally, I'm okay with that. After seeing the ultimatum kill jammers and sensor towers for like, I think it was like a month straight, bot missions got pretty boring because they became too rudimentary and they were just kind of like auto-solved immediately because you just brought an ultimatum. Yes, I know this is a stratagem, but you'd be able to do it from 700 meters because newsflash, it has a limited range. You can fire it at something across the map. More or less how it works is you laze the target, you grab the remote, which is a support weapon, you laze a target and it goes over there. It can't kill a stratagem jammer, but I think that's honestly okay because of this. We're going to start off with bots for a reason. It one-shots factory striders very reliably on the side, shooting at the hip, shooting at the top, the head, very reliably. I think it has something to do with the way it does it at explosion. It's around a 500 kgs explosive damage of 2,500, but I think it has like less damage fall off or something like that, and it just reliably one-shots factory striders. It's awesome. We went into a factory strider mission where you have to like kill them as the objectives, just a test. Boom, one shot. Mission's over. And you can see them from across the map. So it's kind of nuts. Yeah, Solo Silo is like extremely good for doing that. You kind of use it like an emplacement and an EAT and a 500 kg as like a triangle. It's a happy medium between all three because enemies will attack it like an emplacement. You use it like it's an EAT or something like that because you like pick it up and then aim it. And then it's got the damage or more or less of a 500 kg. Just a heads up, when you use it on chaff especially, it multiplies the kills. Like I got one bug breach where it said I got 89 kills. There weren't any 89 enemies. There's maybe like 30. So just a heads up on that. It's a little misleading. But hey, if you really want high kill records, you can use this. The cooldown is fairly long for like Hive Lord killing or like destroying a base from across the map against like fabricators and stuff like that. But I found it to be like very useful for like sniping fabricators, sniping the occasional factory strider, and just like in general, like, hey, there's a lot of bots right there. I need those guys deleted. Fantastic. Go straight up, down, boom, dead. It's like a really powerful EAT in a way. I wouldn't really recommend walking around with it. You could maybe do like a D sickle build with like the supply backpack and the solo silo. And then when you need the solo silo, you got that, but your D sickle does everything else. I'd say A tier, very useful. And I can see a lot of people really enjoying it from like the thematic point of view, but I can see a lot of people also being disappointed that it can't destroy jammers. But trust me, I think it's better this way. Going into the Luminates, I don't think it's as useful. Obviously, you can like one-shot a lot of stuff. The shields of a harvester will protect it, so be careful. Destroy the shields first. I couldn't get any Leviathans to spawn, so I don't know how many it would take to kill it. Probably a decent amount, unless it's like multi-hitting so many parts of it. It could like maybe two-shot it, but I'll report back later on that one. It's like fairly good against like flush mobs and stuff like that because it will one-shot them because it will multi-hit them. It can obviously take out the ships without taking out the shields, so that's nice. Maybe it can direct impact the harvester shield, then blow up and one-shot them. That might need to be tested, but it landed next to a harvester and it survived, so maybe if it direct impacts it, the impact damage does a certain amount of damage and then the explosion does damage. Don't know yet. But yeah, on Illuminate, I'd probably give it like a A-, B+. You know, it's not as useful. I don't think it's really necessary. Unless it's insane versus harvesters, I wouldn't really necessarily like go for it. It's okay. Versus bugs, I wouldn't really recommend it in cave missions. It's very rare to get a cave where like it's open enough to like go up and down and use it very effectively. But when you're outside the caves, it feels great. One-shotting ball titans, one-shotting dragons felt very satisfying. Definitely wait for them to be hovering before you do it, because for the most part, it's like you laze the target and it goes towards that area. Like I don't think it's actually tracking the target. As far as I can see, it didn't look like that. When you like aim it at a Hive Lord, vast majority of the time it'll hit him in the head, which is pretty good. That is a weaker part of the Hive Lord and it can do bonus damage if it hits in the mouth, but I wouldn't really recommend it for his Hive Lords. It's just the cooldown is too big that you're probably just better off bringing something else in that stratagem slot to do more damage per second. It can destroy a Ball Titan hole. It can destroy like bug breaches. It's really good. If you see a bunch of Ball Titans spawn out of it, that's the perfect time to run over to your silo, fire it off, kill a bunch of Ball Titans in one go. It felt very satisfying to use and it felt quite good. I'm gonna give it like a solid A probably, just because of like general usefulness. I couldn't kill more than one Shrieker Nest very reliably. I think you probably can if maybe you get the right angle and it lands in the right spot. Maybe you can kill two of the nests at the same time if they're sitting closer enough together. But yeah, you're not really going to be able to do that too reliably, I think. I think you could open up the fight against like a Mega Nest with like destroying the Ball Titan nest immediately and destroying a couple of the objectives like that. And it's very fun. I really enjoyed using it. I think it's like solid A, A-. We'll have to see exactly where it lands, but I think it's fun to use and it's good. We'll see. Maybe we'll find some better uses for it over time though. The worst for last, the pineapple grenade. I'm just going to say across the board, I don't like it. You only get 3. It has light pen as far as you can see. Maybe it's an error. it doesn't have many munitions. Like you see all of these like hexagons on it. There's only like 5 explosions. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, is every single one of those going to explode and do 300 damage? Holy. No, it's like 5 or 6 explosions. It's pretty disappointing. And it doesn't always spread out because if you throw it into like sand and stuff like that, sometimes you'll just see one explosion because I think that the sand is stopping it from like spreading out more. I don't know. I feel like the damage is low. You only get 3 of them. It's not very useful. The light pen is kind of disappointing because it does affect it at times versus some enemies. I don't know, man. It's like C tier across the board, man, on every faction. Like I think it's okay at times, but like honestly, I just use the regular high explosive grenade or like any of the inflammatory grenades or like dynamite or like gas grenade or thermite or just like I think there's just too many good options for me to want to take the pineapple. Pineapple needs some love. I'm hoping that it's like bugged and it's supposed to have more explosions because it just like it doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem right. It seems weird. If it did 300 damage times like 9, then I'm like, ooh, that would have some decent killing potential. And maybe if you place it in the right spot, maybe it blows up and then one shots a charger underneath him. That'd be pretty cool. And then it would warrant only having 3. But at the moment, it doesn't. It doesn't warrant it. So very disappointing. C tier or D tier across the board. Maybe C tier. I think C plus because it's not terrible, but not particularly useful. Overall, the Warbond I think is the second best in the game. I've been saying this on stream. People have been coming out, a lot of new players, and like, yo, how do you think about it? Democratic Detonation is easily the best just because of like how many good things are in it. But after that, I think this Warbond comes in straight second. Amazing stratagems, amazing primary weapon, great overall armor for every faction, great aesthetic. It's awesome. If they can fix the pineapple, it would be maybe in contention for the best Warbond we've ever received. This Warbond has so much power creep inside of it. The only Warbond that has ever really rivaled it is Democratic Detonation. Yeah, it's fantastic. I would say it's easily an S tier Warbond, second best in the game. Highly recommend it. They nailed it. Congratulations, Arrowhead. Good job. Round of applause. Let me know though down below in the comments down below what you guys think on the Warbond. Where are you guys using it? Is there something I missed with the pineapple? Leave a comment on the video. Leave a like as well. Leave a subscribe if you want to see more content. We'll be releasing more going forward, so keep an eye out on the channel. If you're looking for more guides and stuff like that, I have a Warbond review for all of them. It's like a tier list, so go look at my previous videos. I also have a loadouts video for all the bug cave missions, like basically loadout recommendations, how to solve those missions, and I even have loadout recommendations for Hive Lords and Dragons, so go check out those videos if you're enjoying. Thank you so much, YouTube. Much love. Peace out.